This video contains spoilers for both the manga and anime series of My Hero Academia. Please get off this video before we begin, and thank you for viewing. Chocolate bleu! That's the last time I mixed chocolate with the traveling spurs. Hello, this is Dragon Videos, and welcome back to Romance Month, where I'm going to talk about a specific anime couple. You've probably recalled sweet and strange anime couples, so I decided to go through a more specific group, My Hero Academia. It's been talked about a lot, so I thought to give this list a try. You see, I'm going to go over couples that are the most logical and based on the interactions with one another that of course make more sense. Toga and Twice. Boy, are these two quite a pair. Alright, let me explain here. Some of you may have recalled seeing this couple before in my last video, the sweet and strange couple. Now, there has been official age confirmation with these two. Toga's 18, Twice is 31. A 13 age year difference is not that bad, people. Get a hold of yourselves, will ya? Anyway, I just think this couple makes more sense than Izuku and Toga. We all basically know that Toga has been infatuated with Izuku since the Season 3 Camp Raid arc, and by then, she has been obsessed with other characters as well, resulting in a bisexual representation through her crazed blood works. Part of it is because her quirk gives her clinical vampirism, a mental condition that makes her fascinated with blood up to the point where she'll lick it clean. It's evident in early childhood, however, the parents chose not to acknowledge it and get the proper help she needed. Because of this suppression, it resulted in a huge outburst, and she became the insane psychopath that we all know today. Which is probably hard and in some cases relatable to some people who have certain skeletons in the closet that make them uncomfortable, but Toga's now without her pluses. You see, she was very compassionate toward others, but we see it more towards Jin because she understands how he's feeling. She even helps him try to pull through when they have to be forced to work under the Yakuza. And in some ways, Himiko seems to be steady around him, somehow recognizing his feelings more than she shows recognition towards other people that she attacks, which could mean that Twice may be a very special case. As for Twice, he usually served as comic relief most of the time. You could sort of say he was the Japanese version of Deadpool. And yeah, humor and everything else you would see in Deadpool, but make no mistake, his past is something you can't laugh at. He started out as a very lonely individual with a horrible life. He didn't have a whole lot of friends because of his looks. He lost his family when he was in middle school, and to top it all off, got fired from a job after a horrible traffic incident, which resulted in him making multiple clones as company, and then give off the onslaught, which resulted in brain injury and thinking he's a clone for 9 whole days. And plus, he suffers a psychological torture when he has to go against Skeptic and the Liberation Army. And despite all that torture and pain, he still held on to Toga for dear life. And let's not forget the fact that because of Toga, he was able to overcome his trauma and be able to fight off the enemies. God, Horikoshi, please let our boy live. Let him have a happy ending for a change. Putting that feeling aside, we definitely have some idea of what goes on with these two. You see, Toga feels a little steady around Twice, and Twice feels steady around Toga. They need each other, and they balance themselves out perfectly. Toga focuses when tasks come at hand, and deep inside, these two are very lonely people. They've been knowing nothing but loneliness in his life. Sure, Toga had friends, but they only liked her because of a person she pretended to be. Twice is probably the only person so far who seems to like her for who she is. And I put these guys at number 5 because they have been through so much together. As for Toga, it's still a little one-sided. She doesn't reject his feelings, but yet at the same time doesn't exactly respond to them as he would hope. I think part of it is because she's trying to struggle with the concepts of love because she has been pretending to be someone else for quite some time. So I think for her, real love is difficult to find. And they weren't exactly helpful from her parents. Don't you dare pull the alarm on these two. She may be small, but La Brava's 21, and Gentle, who is above her, is 32. This age gap is a bit smaller than Toga and Twice, but the thing is they're both compatible with each other. Gentle was basically struggling to make ends meet and wanted people to pay attention to him. He definitely comes off as a show-off, much as like Mr. Compress, and wants to inspire more heroes in the process with La Brava's video editing skills and hacking. You see, it wasn't all like that. He was a young hero student who had a horrible time with academics and had a horrible stroke of some bad luck. As a result, his dreams went crashing down like skyscrapers, leaving him empty and alone and friendless. He felt like being the villain was the only way, and there was no other choice. As for La Brava, her problem is a little bit similar to his in terms of the loneliness department. It all started off with the usual, the girl sends a love letter to confess her love towards another person. However, it was not well met, and it resulted in a huge heartbreak for her, resulting in a depression and making her question if she had a life worth living. That was until she came across Gentle's video, and since then served at his side because she viewed him as a beacon of hope, someone worth living. Because La Brava was willing to put her life on the line, she would do everything she can to help Gentle achieve his dream, while with Gentle, he acknowledges her and doesn't feel so ashamed of who he is. And La Brava doesn't feel like she has to be alone in terms of that she finally has someone to share her love with. And I feel like with this dynamic, it served as a number 4 spot because of their relationship is both at ends, but I felt like there were some couples that were a bit more deserving. I admit these two are just a lot of fun to watch separately as they are together, but over time I began to see of how they would just work as a couple, which I put them in number 3. You see, they are both very bubbly in personality as well as their attitudes when it comes to hero business. Make no mistake, even though they may goof off, they do take their hero work seriously. Ichiro was always the enthusiastic one, trying his best to take on the role of Red Riot and commemorating his favorite hero, Crimson Riot. It wasn't always like that. In high school, he tried his best to follow the codes, and then when a big villain, Gigantomachia, revealed later, appeared, he was reluctant and stood still, while Mina stepped in and tried to help out her friends, which really damaged his emotional path and began to think he wasn't capable of being a hero. But with the help of Mina and also Red Crimson Riot, he began to become more confident in his abilities and still continued to strive the path of being a hero, which is probably why I appreciate Mina. She doesn't exactly patronize him after he apologized for running away. And because of this, he becomes more confident in his abilities, slowly but surely. As for Mina, she definitely enjoys his company and brings out the best qualities in him, which is why I put at number 3, because not only do their personalities just match, but also because they just seem to connect pretty well. Okay, hear me out on these two. True, they would have been moved further up, but I felt like there was something about them that just made some sense. You see, Bakugo was always considered the loudmouth of the group. He was smart, true, but his temperament always messed up everything. I mean, he would always get mad at the littlest of things. Jeez, dude, take a chill pill, would ya? In Season 1, he always came off as cocky and arrogant, thinking he was better than everyone else in the quirk world. However, when he came across students in New Year with Todoroki and Bakugo, this is where there were battles where he realized he was not that high and mighty. And of course, there was the sports arc where he felt like his battle with Todoroki was not well earned. And then, of course, there was the internship where he had to go through some major humility checking. And to top off this cake of his high horse was basically the capture of the villains in the raid arc, as well as witnessing All Might's retirement. Because he blames himself of all that, this really damages his spirit and knocks him right off his high horse. As for Shoto Todoroki, he comes off as a very quiet, withdrawn student who barely would make an interesting conversation if you had the chance. But when it comes to his hero and power, his actions just speak louder than words, which is where he could probably fit the caliber of Bakugo in terms of power. Though he's always in his father's shadow and has to deal with the constant pestering of Endeavor. Because of his abuse in the past, Shoto always had to bury those rage inside of him and try to remove his power. However, as it progressed in the series, he slowly let go of that hatred and began to recognize those emotions all around him. I feel like this is where the pairing would come from, because Shoto seems to tolerate Bakugo's outbursts up to the point where Bakugo even respects him, and then has been invited to not only the internship with Endeavor, but also to the Todoroki household. Bakugo seems to show more respect as well as understanding Todoroki's background with his family. I put these at number 2 because even though it's not as apparent, there have been some rumors of Shoto being gay. There's no confirmations, but I have heard rumors. And I felt like it does make some sense out of these two, mostly because of just how they work together and how their personalities seem to match into a point where they're almost in sync. Make no mistake, this has to be the best couple in the My Hero Academia franchise. Let me explain. Izuku was a very young, eager boy who wanted to be a hero just like his idol All Might. However, when he learned that he was officially quirkless, he was absolutely heartbroken. And let me tell you, that scene with him was just so cryable. Anyway, he proved that despite his setback, he continued to pursue his dream of being a hero. And when he finally had that chance, he burst into tears. And it's no wonder he's been told no all his life, and his idol finally gave him his dream. And because of that, he used that confidence and given ability to help people no matter what the cost. And in a lot of ways, It's his gentleman nature that helped him win over Ochako. His strive to be a hero is the biggest admiration for her, the capability of trying his hardest, despite what everyone else tells him. And of course, he just blushes so much when she walks into the room. And also because Ochako just seems to value him as a person regardless of what quirk he had. As for Ochako, she was basically another person who wants to use her quirk as a hero skill and help her parents with financial troubles. Even though she can appear as a bit of an airhead, she actually is a well thought out person. She really thinks through some of the situations and knows how to overcome them. Her relationship with Izuku was special, mostly because she said hi to him without even knowing if he was quirkless or not. It was also because when she sees Izuku fighting and doing what's right, she feels inspired to continue on what she does best and grow as a person. And of course, she also has an attraction to him that's so strong that the fans and the pro heroes even begin to notice it. And plus, we've always seen Horikoshi keep throwing it at us. And I know that Himiko Toka is even noticing that portion as well. It's always the pits when villains find out those sorts of things and use that weakness against the heroes. Anyway, these guys are number one as the top 5 My Hero Academia couples because they just work well together as a team. They just seem to share the same enthusiasm with each other and pay attention to how they feel and grow as people individually and putting their feelings aside as what it means to be a hero. So, this is it, folks. I am going to be in Paris for a little while. Really? Anyway, I'm going to explore more about couples later on and hopefully look into the relationships before Romance Month ends. So, this is Dragon Video saying au revoir!